Yeah, hello friends. Welcome to the webinar with Reading University. My name is Arthur. That's my colleague Niles. Niles, today we will monitor that webinar. We have two representatives from Reading University. Is a student who at the moment studying master studies and share her experience about studies in Reading University and tell you much more interesting things. And of course, representative of Reading University from international office. She will also give you facts and information that you should know. And in the beginning, we also like to show you and explain how to use webinar platform, how to ask questions. Nelis, could you please tell the others how to do that?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So just a few moments and few sentences about the platform that we're going to use for today's video webinar. So there are a few options. And first of all, we would like you to push the button on the left side. You can see the icon of a hand. So if you can see that icon on the hand please push the button, and we will see that everything is going fine. You can hear us, you can see us. And afterwards, I would like to introduce two more options that you can use. So chat, you can freely ask questions, you can discuss, you can say hello. And also you can have questions asked in a special place. So if you see the question mark icon, please push that button and you'll be able to give us questions, and those questions will be answered for you during this webinar, during the presentation, or at the end of it.
Yeah, just during the webinar, just if you have a question, please ask it and we will definitely answer those questions. Yeah, okay, great. So now we would like to introduce you, show you representatives of Reading University. Hi, guys.
Hello, hi. Hello. Good to see you.
Yeah, hello. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Claire Ballard. I'm the Senior Regional Manager here at the University of Reading in the International Office.
Hi, my name is Agata and I'm a master's student at the University of Reading.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I think don't waste time. Let's start, and we will share first presentation with everyone so that everyone can see it.
Okay.
And let's begin our part. Okay, now we're live, and please go ahead.
Very good. So thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I'm going to begin by just giving you a general overview about why you might want to think about postgraduate study with us at the University of Reading. Okay, so if we move to the next slide. So just briefly what we're going to cover this afternoon, we're going to talk a little bit about where we are and our campuses, a little bit about our history and where we are now at the university, what sort of faculties and schools we have, a bit about rankings, and then more importantly, 10 reasons why you might want to choose the University of Reading for your postgraduate study. And then I'll conclude the first part of the presentation by talking about things like accommodation, what it's like to be at Reading, and how to apply if you decide that you'd like to join us at Reading. So important question, whereabouts are we in the UK? We've got a really great location. We're only 25 minutes by train from central London. So we've got the benefit of being able to get to London very quickly and easily, but not being as expensive as being based in London. The other good news, if you're from outside of the UK, is that we're really close to both Heathrow and Gatwick airports. So both can be reached really easily from Reading directly. We're only 35 minutes from Heathrow. And really easy access to all the other major parts of the UK, places like Oxford, the west of England, even Scotland directly by train from Reading. So great to explore the rest of the UK. And we're part of the thriving Thames Valley in the UK. It's actually known as the Silicon Valley. So a lot of big companies, people like Vodafone and Hewlett-Packard, actually have corporate offices here. So great employment opportunities as well. Okay, next slide. So a bit about our campuses. Most of our students will study at White Knights. This is our main campus in Reading. We are located just 20 minutes walk from the town centre and really easy access by bus as well. So most of our faculty and accommodation and other facilities are here at White Knights. We also have a campus at London Road. So this is a short walk from White Knights. a little bit closer to the town centre. And if you study education or architecture, then you'll be based at our London Road campus. Greenlands, which is on the beautiful River Thames, is where our part-time programs are offered with the business school. So you may have the opportunity to visit Greenlands, but you probably wouldn't study there. And then quite an exciting development for the university is our campus in Malaysia, which has been open for just over a year. And we actually deliver some of our teaching at undergraduate and postgraduate level in Malaysia. So that's quite an interesting development for the university. So a little bit about our history. We've got quite a long tradition of offering education here at the University of Reading. We actually were originally established as an extension college of the University of Oxford. So that's a link we're quite proud of, and meant we were delivering programs here at Reading from 1896. Then in 1926, we were the only university to receive what's called the Royal Charter between the two world wars. And that basically meant that we became a university in our own right, and we could award our own degrees. And we had our first Vice-Chancellor, William Childs, who you can see just there on the right-hand side. Moving forward to more recent times, in 2007, we merged with the Henley Management College, which created a world-class business school at the university, and also meant that we had an MBA programme. And we'll be talking a little bit later in the presentations about the business school specifically. So moving forward to current times and what's happening at the university now. Well, we're in the top 1% of universities within the world, so a really top-class university. We're investing over £400 million in the next 10 years in facilities for students, and that includes student accommodation and sports parks, as well as the academic facilities. Her Majesty the Queen hosted her Jubilee party here, her Golden Jubilee party in 2013. And as I've already mentioned, we have our campus in Malaysia. And we're a medium-sized university for the UK. So we have about 17,000 students studying with us currently from 150 different countries. So a very diverse student population here at Reading. And just a little bit more about that investment that we're putting back into facilities for students. So I mentioned the big investment over the next 10 years, and that is everything from improving the library facilities, new student accommodation, to improving the teaching facility that we have. So we have a very nice new film and theatre studio with our own television studio and theatre space. We're continually working on our laboratory space. So the next to have a new building will be the biological sciences. And things like the business school. So we even have our own trading rooms within the finance department, over 150 different terminals, very much as if you're working in an investment bank in the city. And we really talk to the students as well about what sort of facilities they would like. So we take their input and try to actually put the investment back into things that is going to help the students and that they've actually asked for. Okay. So a bit about what we actually offer at the university. Probably fair to point out, first of all, that we don't have an engineering faculty. So apart from our new biomedical engineering, that's not something we offer at the university currently. And we don't have a medical school, but we do have a number of programs related to the medical area. So 4 key faculties that we have. The first is our Faculty of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences. So I've already mentioned about film and television. We also have areas like typography and fine art, history, philosophy, languages, politics and international relations, which is a big area here at Reading, and also our law school as well. So quite a number of areas within that faculty. In Faculty of Science, we have our very strong construction management and built environment programs. We have a new architecture school, not currently offering postgraduate programs, but that's something that we will definitely be having in the future. Environmental sciences, mathematics, and things like meteorology and other physical science areas. And then within life sciences, we are very strong at Reading for agriculture, where we're top in the UK for that particular subject. But within that, we also offer international development studies as well. Food science and the research in that area is another strong department, along with chemistry and pharmacy as well. And I mentioned a little bit about the medical related areas. So within our biological sciences department, we have a very strong biomedical sciences, as well as things like microbiology, biochemistry. So quite a few areas related to medicine. And then we have psychology and clinical language sciences, which includes our speech and language therapy program. And the final faculty that we have is the business school, which you'll be hearing a bit about in more detail shortly. So I'm not going to cover that in any more detail at this stage, other than to say we have quite a number of areas from accounting right through to real estate. So that's our key subject areas. So a bit about the rankings. I've already mentioned that we're top 1% in the world, and that relates to both the QS and the Times World Rankings. Within the UK, we're in the top 30, so 27th in the Complete University Guide. But probably more important, I would say, is to actually look at your individual subject area and actually see where your department is ranked. So you'll see that for agriculture, we're top in the UK. Land and property management, which includes real estate, we're second after Cambridge. Food science, we're fourth in the UK. And areas like accounting, animal science, art and design, education, pharmacy, archaeology, all top 10 subjects for us. And we are a research university, so as well as the great teaching that we do, we also put a lot of time into our research. And there's some really interesting areas that we're working on at the moment. And that research is very well ranked internationally. So 98% of our research was said to be of international standard in the last Research Excellence Framework, which was in 2014. And what that means is that when you come here, the academic staff who are teaching you, they really are top in their field. So I think that is important, whichever subject you come to study. So why would you want to choose the University of Reading for your postgraduate study? Well, I've already talked about the international reputation that we have, and I've mentioned various rankings. We're actually 19th in the UK for our research intensity, and we've won the Queen's Anniversary Prize 4 times. We've got a really strong, thriving postgraduate community at Reading, which not all universities in the UK have. We actually have 45% of our students undertaking postgraduate study with us. That's just under 8,000 students. So it's a big cohort of our student body are actually studying postgraduate. We've got world-class teaching. So I mentioned about the research that we do here. The academics that teach at the university are from all across the world, and they really are experts in their field. And they're not just teaching you, but they're advising governments, ministries, and business about key areas. And things like food security, climate change, and heart disease are some of the key areas that we're currently undertaking world-class research in. I guess if you're thinking about doing a postgraduate qualification, you're also going to be thinking about the job opportunities when you graduate. And so it is important to think about the career prospects for you. And we have just over 98% of our postgraduate students either in full-time work or perhaps going on to further study within 6 months of graduating. And just under 98% of those are actually employed in managerial or professional roles. We're pleased to see that just under 90% of our students have actually been satisfied with the career and professional development they've had from the university. So a very strong careers unit here at the university. And it's important that our students do well when they study with us. 93% of our master's students have successfully passed their programs, but more importantly, 70% have actually passed with a merit or a distinction. And I've already mentioned about the student satisfaction that we have, which is well above the sector average. We have a really good selection of postgraduate programs here at Reading, so over 150 different programs for you to choose from. And that ranges from our MA and MSc programs to some which are offered with some elements of research. So there are MRes qualifications, and then the LLM programs that we have in our law school. And some of our programs do offer internship opportunities and, more importantly, professional accreditations. I've already talked a bit about how global we are at Reading. We truly are a very international and diverse community here. We've got students from over 150 different countries. And we've been welcoming international students to Reading since 1904, when our first student came to us from Kenya to study agriculture. I think I've already covered quite a bit about the facilities already and the investment that's going back into that, but it really is state-of-the-art facilities that you'll have here on campus. And lots of student support. So I've touched briefly on the careers support that you get. There is a job shop, so if you're interested in doing some part-time work whilst you're at Reading, that's available. There are opportunities to get involved in volunteering, different clubs and societies. We run a welcome program so that when you first arrive at the university, there'll be lots of support, and that includes a meet and greet at the airport. And if you're thinking about going on and doing research with us, we have a graduate school which has been rated as 2nd in the UK and 8th in the world for the support that we provide to PhD students. And a great location. I've already talked about being close to London, but we're a really nice parkland campus, over 130 hectares of space. So it's a really nice, green, open environment, a really great location. Okay. So a little bit briefly about facilities. So if you come to study with us for a postgraduate course, you will be guaranteed accommodation in one of our student halls, as long as you apply by the 1st of August. We have a range of different accommodation depending on your budget and your requirements. So everything from a basic room where you share bathroom facilities, which starts at about £100 per week, through to ensuite accommodation where you have your own private facilities. That can be a bit more expensive and starts at £140 per week. And various options with catering as well. And below you'll see some pictures of typical hall accommodation and some of the rooms. I mentioned a bit about societies, but there are lots of things to get involved with, be it part-time work, clubs and societies, or perhaps sport. If you're good at football or athletics, we've got something for just about everybody, and a very strong students' union for you to get involved with. And it's not just for undergraduate students, that's open to all students. And we do have a lot of support for you with things like study advice and other things that you might need help with when you start your course. And Reading itself, we're the largest town in the UK. You might know us from the Reading Festival that happens each summer. We've got lots of things to do in your spare time. So the pictures you can see at the bottom of your screen there are from the town centre. So we have the Oracle Shopping Centre. We have lots of places to grab things to eat, cinema, football team here in Reading, so if you want to follow football, we have that, and rugby as well. So as well as being close to London, there are plenty of things to keep you occupied in Reading itself as well. So a little bit about how to apply. I would very much encourage you to make use of Kastu to help with your application. They'll be able to advise you about our requirements and the supporting documents that you need. But it's really not difficult to apply for a postgraduate program. So as long as you've got your academic results or your predicted results, if you're still finishing your bachelor's degree, 2 academic reference letters and a personal statement, it's a very straightforward application. And the entry requirements for a postgraduate course from Lithuania, we're typically looking for you to have an 8 overall in your baccalaureate. So basically the equivalent to a 2-1 in the UK. That's for most of our degree programs. And from Poland, we'll be looking for a 4 in your bachelor's degree. And for students who've not been taught in English, we will ask for an IELTS or TOEFL. There are various other English tests that we can accept. And the minimum requirement in IELTS is 6.5 overall. Some programs, for example, in the humanities or the business school, may ask for a 7 in your IELTS. So it's worth checking up with us about that before you go ahead. And you don't have to have that at the time you make your application. We will offer you a place subject to taking an English test later on. Okay, and there are my contact details. So that's the end of my general presentation about the university. And we'll then be moving on to talk a little bit more specifically about our Henley Business School. So my colleague Marta, who looks after Europe for the business school, she's actually originally from Poland. Sadly, she's traveling today, otherwise she would have given this presentation. So I probably won't be able to give you as much detail as Marta would have done if she'd joined the session, but I'm going to give you a bit of an overview about the business school and the opportunities for postgraduate study. And then at the end of the presentation, you'll have Marta's contact details, and she'd be really happy to be in touch with you later on. So the business school at Reading, just a little bit about their mission statement, if you like. So to empower individuals to become great business professionals and outstanding leaders who think with clarity, confidence, and conviction. Their strength lies in their approach. They enable people to better understand themselves and their responsibilities while blending the practice and theories of successful business. And importantly, if you're thinking about studying business, it is a very well-ranked business school. Wherever you end up working in the future, the Henley business name is exceptionally well known. So they definitely are a top 1% business school, and they have triple accreditation, which only 76 business schools worldwide have. So a very, very strong business school. And for areas like accounting and finance, one of the top business schools that you can study with. Okay. And that just reinforces what we've already said about the different campuses. And if you study a full-time business course, you will be at white nights. So Henley is not really a campus for you unless you're doing a part-time program. The other strong thing for the business school is the network of alumni that they have. So that really helps in the future when you're looking at companies to go and work for. So we've got over 70,000 alumni in over 150 different countries. So once you finish with the business school, you've got those contacts across the world and those companies that basically are going to be good recruiters for you as well. And just under 9,000 as part of their LinkedIn group. So as soon as you arrive at the university, you'll be building those professional networks and having those contacts, which help with your future career plans as well. 48% of the faculty staff who teach are themselves international, and that's not just from Europe, but from corners all across the world. You can see some lovely pictures of some of the faculty, and actually if you look on the Henley website, you can actually look in more detail at the faculty and see where they've studied and also where they've worked, because many of them have got extensive professional work experience. Just under 90% of them have actually got PhDs, which I think is important. And we're ranked second for the percentage of women faculty staff. An important thing to say about the business school is that they do have a very, very generous scholarship program. So this year there's £2 million worth of scholarships available. And they're really keen to see some of those scholarships for European students. So if you decide to come and do one of the finance programs, they have scholarships available for their shipping and finance course, and also for their international securities and investment banking programs. And you get your offer first, and then you apply for one of the scholarships. And if you're shortlisted, you will have a short 15-minute telephone interview with one of the faculty staff, and they'll decide if they can award you one of the scholarships. For the other areas, things like management and accounting, they have various scholarships available, ranging from a £5,000 scholarship up to potentially 60% of the tuition fee. And again, you apply for your course, get your offer, and then apply for one of the scholarships. So a very generous scholarship program, which I think you should definitely think about if you're considering business as a subject. And these are just some of the destinations that business school graduates go on to. So these are companies where they've taken students from the business school, and some of them we work very closely with, particularly companies like Vodafone and PwC, who actually regularly come onto campus, get involved with activities. They have regular lunchtime sessions where you get to meet staff from the companies, and they have their own full-time careers officer just for the business school. So a lot of support with your future career options. A very strong portfolio at the business school. We'll talk a bit more in a moment about the programs that they have. The postgraduate courses are all 12 months full-time. They all start in September, and they will be looking for students to have got a 2-1 or equivalent degree. And I think the next slide hopefully has got the course information. Yes, so the main areas that we have within Henley, so accounting, business and management, finance, real estate, and information management. So with accounting, we have 3 master's programs. Some of them require students to have already studied accounting, but we do have an accounting program that is specifically for graduates who have no accounting experience at all. So it's not a problem if you're looking at moving into that area. Within business and management, we have an MSc in management. This is for students who don't necessarily have a business background, so you can come from a range of degree programs. You also don't have to have work experience, so this would be ideal for somebody who's recently graduated, or you've got up to 2 years work experience. We also have an entrepreneurship program, so this is perhaps if you have a family business or you're thinking about starting your own business. So it's not for somebody who's an experienced business owner at this stage, and so you can be a recent graduate as well for this program. And we also have a human resource management program, which is very popular and again doesn't require previous experience in that area. Within finance, we have 9 different programs. Some of them do require you to have studied a degree where you've had perhaps a qualitative background, so they might have asked you to do economics or finance. But some of the other programs are open to graduates from a range of backgrounds, and we have everything from investment management, financial risk management, capital markets regulation, shipping and finance, through to the more specialised financial engineering, which would be looking for graduates from a statistics, mathematical or engineering background. Real estate and planning, as you've already seen, is a top-ranked programme in the UK, second in the UK, and they offer a real estate programme and also real estate finance as well. And then the information management programmes, there are various options there, 7 different postgraduate programmes. Again, no experience required in that area. Perhaps students who are looking to maybe go into a consulting role with a company or get more involved in how information management works in different organisations. So quite a number of different programmes that we have available within the business school. And then we have the Henley MBA programme, another 12-month programme. Again, this has a September intake. 3 years work experience, and as part of the application you will be asked to provide a CV and quite detailed answers to some questions about your work experience. And Marta, who I mentioned to you previously, would be really happy to chat to anybody on a one-to-one basis who's thinking about the MBA before you actually go down the application process. And just a bit of confirmation there about the application deadline, so 1st of August for the business school programmes, with term starting in September for most of the courses. And that's Marta's contact details. So she's based in our business school and she specifically looks after students from Europe who are interested in coming and studying at the Henley Business School. Okay, so that's it from me from the university side. I'm going to hand over now to Agatha, who's one of our current students, who's going to give you her perspective on being a master's student at the University of Reading. Okay.
Thank you. Hi. So like I said, I'm a master's student and I want to talk to you a little bit about what it's like to study in the UK and in Reading specifically. So can I have the first slide? So I'm actually from Poland, so I can also talk to you about a bit about what it's like to be a student from the EU. But I've been studying in the UK for 4 years. I did a degree in psychology and now I'm doing language sciences at the University of Reading. And the main reason I chose to do an MSc was because I wanted to go on to do a PhD. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about what made me want to choose to study here. Can I have the next slide? Right, so as you are probably aware, the program in the UK is a little different because it's only 12 months, so it's a bit more intense. But there's a lot of independent work. You don't have lectures all day. It's mostly, you're mostly expected to do your own research, do reading, take part in research projects, get experience. And also, the relationship with the lecturers is more personal. They're always willing to help, and it's not like at school when you're supposed to just listen to your teacher. You're supposed to actually engage in the conversation, question what you're learning, and just sort of take charge of your learning experience. And in general, the UK is just a good place for research, especially because obviously a lot of English-speaking publications go to journals, and obviously the experience of learning here is going to improve your language skills, and you can make friends with people from all over the world, and just the experience of living in a different culture is quite useful. So I chose Reading for a few reasons, and there are a few things that you need to consider before making the decision, so I'm going to talk you through some of them right now. So for me, the main reason that I wanted to come here was actually the course, because it's quite unique. It wasn't really offered at many other universities. So I'm doing language sciences, which is a mix of psychology and linguistics. And in addition to obviously learning about it, I get quite a lot of experience. So I'm currently working with our Center for Literacy and Multilingualism. And because my main interest is bilingualism, I get to help with studies on bilingualism. I actually work with the Polish community in Reading. I work with, for my dissertation, I'll be working with children who speak Polish and live in the UK. So it's always a good thing to be able to bring your strengths and your interests into your learning experience. That's also something that's quite unique to the UK. And in the department, we have a lot of facilities that can support your learning. So we have neuroscience center, we've got clinics for psychology and for speech and language therapy. So it's actually quite often the case that a big part of your course is a placement school or at a hospital or at a company that you would like to learn about. It's not just lectures. Obviously, an important part of life at university is the campus. So as was already mentioned, we have a great campus that is just really nice to walk across. It's not like living in you don't feel that you live in a city. We have a library that's open 24 hours and a lot of other facilities, restaurants, a supermarket. Obviously the accommodation on campus, so you don't really have to walk far. You can just spend most of your time on campus. Obviously it's close to town center and to the train station, and also there are opportunities for part-time jobs. So I personally work in a library, which is really great because I work on campus, and working for the university is sort of easier because they understand that I'm also a student, and it's just a really nice job that doesn't interfere with my studies. And there are obviously a lot of things to do, as we already said. So you can join a sports club, or you can join a society. There are actually quite a few different societies, so you probably will find something for yourself. The ones that I found very interesting were the Quidditch Society, and there's a surfing society, so you can even go surfing in England. I'm personally in the Sign Language Society, and there are also course-based societies for sort of making friends with people from your course. And I'm also in the process of setting up a Polish society, so it'll probably be here by the time you arrive. And obviously, an important thing when you're considering coming to the university is thinking about your career. So, like I said, there are always options for doing placements and internships. And there are also volunteering opportunities to improve your CV. So you can enroll in the Red Award, which is like a formal recognition of your volunteering. I'm personally a course rep, so I represent my course and give feedback to the university and to the Students' Union. And that's also what's quite good about the UK system, is that students actually get a say in what they would like changed, and it actually often happens. And also, obviously, like I said, you can have a job, and you can also get some career advice when you want to prepare for an interview or write a CV or a cover letter. And there are also recruitment fairs to meet with potential employers and talk about what they might expect from you. And as we already mentioned as well, living in Reading is also quite convenient, because we're very close to London and to Oxford, which is really beautiful, and to Heathrow and the other airports. There's plenty to do in town, either for shopping or just taking a walk, going out with friends. And obviously the Reading Festival is quite a famous thing to mention as well. So I guess, can I have the next one? That's it from me. I hope that was useful, and thanks for listening.
All right, so we are finishing with our presentations, and I can see that we have quite a lot of questions from our participants who are watching. So some of the questions will be dedicated for a student, because it's more like about student life, and one of them is going to be more likely about loans and Brexit.
Okay, yes.
So I'm going to start like from a first question, and first question sounds like that. So a question for a student, and it sounds like, do you plan to stay in England after your studies, or you're planning to come back to Poland?
Yeah, I think I'm planning to stay in England at least for a while. Like I said, I might do a PhD after and try to start an academic career, but if I was looking for a job then as well, yeah. Okay,
another question related to scholarship. So we have mentioned that the university gives 2 million scholarship, not like directly to one person, but just in general. And how to apply for that scholarship?
Yeah, it's a good question, because there are some other scholarships as well. So the £2 million that I mentioned were specifically for the business school. So for those scholarships, you get your offer first, and then you have to make an application. And there is information on the website about the scholarships. Some of them will then look at that application form and award the scholarship, or finance actually like to interview the students, so it would be a short 15-minute telephone interview. There are other scholarships within the university, so the Geography and Environmental Sciences and the Psychology School have scholarships for this year, and there are possibly going to be others as we progress through the year. So it is a case of looking for your individual subject on their web pages, because sometimes there are scholarships that we're just not aware of that are available, so keep a check on the website, definitely.
Okay.
But they usually do want an application form, just a short personal statement usually as to why they should give you a scholarship.
All right, and another question, what about Brexit, if that could influence my master's studies or not really?
Well, that's a big question. I think I'd probably be quite well off if I could answer the Brexit question. The good news for 2017 is that the government have confirmed that the new loan, which was introduced in 2016 for a postgraduate study, where you can apply for up to £10,000 for your studies, is going to be available for this year. So there's no problem if you're thinking about starting this September. Beyond 2017, we are still waiting for guidance from the government. So I don't think any UK university at the moment can say, yeah, the loan is definitely going to be there next year. We are still going to be in the EU in 2018. So hopefully the loan will still be available, and we are pushing government to make an early decision on that so that we can let you all know. And as soon as we've got any information, it will be updated on the website. 2019 onwards is a very different question, and I think we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with that. So just keep a check, not just on Reading, but all universities will be putting as much information as they can about Brexit on the website. And I'm sorry that we don't have anything more that we can say at the moment.
All right, so we're moving on, and the next question for a student. So was it hard to adapt to the new place and just to start studies in really like our country, not your original country?
Right, so I guess there's a lot to talk about here, but it was a little bit difficult at first, just I think especially getting used to speaking a different language on a daily basis. But apart from that, I would say that the university is always very supportive, and they understand that people are coming from different backgrounds. So they're always making sure that everyone is sort of on the same level. So I wouldn't say that there is much to worry about.
Okay. Another question from Alexandra. So there is supposed to be a £10,000 student loan available for postgraduate study. Are Polish students also eligible to receive this loan?
Yes, they definitely are. So the loan for this year is open to any EU students. So that includes students from Poland. So definitely. And we know that that is definitely available for 2017. Yes. It's different to the undergraduate loan in that it's actually paid to you directly as the student. So it's up to you whether you use that for your tuition fees, but it could also help with your accommodation and your living costs as well. So yes, definitely.
All right. And moving on, a question regarding managing the time between studies and work. So more likely it's a question for a student. So is it hard to manage your studies with part-time job or something like that?
I would say that it's manageable. I mean, obviously a part-time job can't be more than like 10 or 15 hours a week. But if it's like a weekend job or 2 evenings, it really isn't that much of a problem. I mean, in some cases it might actually help you be more organized because you have more responsibilities. But yeah, it's definitely doable.
And the following question regarding also the work and the salary. So what's the average salary that the student could expect to get while working in part-time job in your place?
Well, it depends on the job. So definitely there's a minimum wage in the UK. So I think postgraduate students would be over 21. So I guess the minimum wage for that is like £7 something. So that's the minimum, and then on top of that, if it's you might get like £8, sometimes 9 if it's something a bit more sophisticated. Maybe like tutoring might be even more.
Okay.
Per hour, that is, of course.
Yeah. And one more question. How much money you need per month to cover all living costs? So housing for sure, and food, traveling costs. How much student needs to have to cover everything per month?
Well, I shall probably give you the official answer, and then Agatha can tell you how it works in reality. We recommend having between £800 and £900 per month to cover everything. So that would be your accommodation, your food, your books, your travel. Obviously, some students spend less. It just depends how much you socialize and go out in the evenings. But maybe you can say whether that's your experience.
Yeah, so it probably varies. So, and it depends what you need as well. So, for instance, halls might be a little bit more expensive than a private accommodation, but then it's much safer and it's a better standard, and it's guaranteed that everything's taken care of and you won't have any problems. Whereas in a house, you don't know who you're going to live with and how it's going to work out. So that makes a difference. And then obviously it depends, again, if you go out a lot, or if you like want to travel around the country and that kind of thing. But I guess that it might not have to be £800, but I would say that it's probably might be close to that.
Okay, and I see one more question from Thomas. So it sounds like that. Let me check. Okay, so is it hard to study, and is it hard to pass exams in Reading University?
You can answer.
I'm sure it's kind of like in any other university. If you study, you'll pass. If you don't study, you might not. That's super hard. But it's not like you don't have to do anything at all, I guess.
Okay.
It's a lot of work doing a master's in 1 year, so you are going to probably have to put some work into it. And it's a lot of, as we've already said, independent work as well. But there's a lot of support within the university as well. So I think, like Agatha has said, if you put the work in and also use the services that are there to help you, you shouldn't have a problem.
Okay. So let me check regarding other questions. Okay, I see that, yes, there is a last question from Lucas. And the question sounds like that. Do we have many students from Lithuania in Reading University? Maybe you know.
Yes, I'll be honest with you, it's quite small numbers at the moment, probably because we haven't actually been out to visit Lithuania, which we probably should do. But we definitely have some students here. In fact, a number of students I've worked with in the past who are now off working elsewhere. I think at the moment we probably have, this is a guess, I think probably about 10 students at the moment from Lithuania, but that is a guess. And that will be across all levels. Yeah.
All right. So at this moment, I see that we have covered all the answers, and we are about to finish our webinar. Just a few words from my side as well as Kastu representative. So if you would like to apply and start your master studies in University of Reading, so you should just contact directly Kastu team in Poland or Lithuania, and we will help through all the application process, and we will make sure that your application will be successfully transferred for university, and we hope that you will start your studies successfully already this year, because as you know, regarding Brexit situation, for sure that for this year, if you apply, you will get a loan and you will have those money for your studies and your living expenses. So don't, I don't know, make this year and make a right decision to apply for studies. And I don't know, if you have any questions, if you want to consult, you can just freely do that with university students, for example, to contact the students from Reading University, and as well you can contact Kastu team. We are really open to share, to discuss, and give you some kind of support. So that's it from my side. We are finishing our webinar with the University of Reading. Thank you everyone for participating, and thank you for your questions. I believe and I hope that presentation that was delivered by university representatives was really interesting, and I hope you liked it. And that's it from my side. We are saying goodbye, and we wish you the best luck. So once again, I would like to thank you as well, the university representatives that were leading the presentation. So thank you.
Thank you.
And we are saying goodbye this time. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.